Good morning, good afternoon, I should say. This is Waniata Carter, That Church Girl Chronicles. I am here with Miss Betty Brown and Dr. Marcia Whitaker, and I am so privileged and honored to have them on this call with the Virtuous season that we are going out and launching on tonight. And this day, we're going to be talking about the series on today is the topic today, I should say, is she serves with strength. And these two, and what powerful way for these two women to come on from all facts of life and their experiences, and they exude this right here. So what better way to have them to come on and share with this? I'm going to start with Miss Betty Brown. Can you introduce yourself and what it is that you do, and why was this, and just give me one word about the virtuous woman.
Hello, everybody. My name is Betty Brown, and currently I'm a retired entrepreneur. I work in the largest industry in the world, in the travel industry, and I that's basically all I do right now. But the virtuous woman is a strong woman, and it has so many levels there. So hopefully you'll discover what my definition is after the interview, because it's combined into everything that I'll be telling you about me.
Yes, yes. Dr. Whitaker, can you hear us? I think we having some issues with Dr. Whitaker's internet connection. Dr. Whitaker, if you can still hear us, we cannot hear you. We are, oh my goodness, we having some issues with her. So we'll come back to her. Okay, well, oh, thank you so much, Miss Betty Brown. Dr. Whitaker, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Yes. Just introduce yourself and one word on the virtuous woman. You're lagging.
Okay, perfect.
You may have to come back out and come
Yes,
back in again.
absolutely. I'm just making sure that you can hear me. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Now we can't hear you.
All right, so I am Dr. Marcia.
Miss Betty Brown, can you hear her now?
Nope. Her lips are
Okay, can
moving.
you hear me?
That's it. Now we can. When you
Now we
ask
can't,
us, we can. But then when you
but
start talking, we
talking we
can't.
can't. Mm-hmm.
We can't. Okay. Well, maybe I should turn my camera. Well, I switched
Got you
over. I
now.
hardwired to see if that was going to do it. That's
We
okay.
can hear you now.
Perfect. You know
Go
what?
ahead.
So,
Yes.
so I first of all, I want to say, because I have to say this now, that the enemy is busy. Okay, we talked about earlier about some of the things that have happened this week, and just even on this live, even when we went into prayer, and so we're talking about the virtuous woman. I am Dr. Sia. I'm waiting for my camera to come back on. The enemy is busy. Okay,
Yes.
the I am Dr. Marcia, and I am a life and business architect, also a physician. And what I do is I help women, female entrepreneurs that are in this business building phase, I help them to harness the power of their story to build an authentic platform and then chart a clear path to business success. Number one, platform building.
Dr. Whitaker, I'm gonna ask you to come back because we missed it's so choppy. And I want the people to hear what you just said, and we did not hear that. So I'm gonna have you to come back, go out and come back in because we gotta know what you were saying. Like I need to
Okay.
know.
All right. So hopefully you can, oh, absolutely. Okay. Okay. I'll be back.
Yes, yes. So we will not be defeated. The enemy want us to be distracted, but we're not going to give him. First of all, we didn't give him no glory. How about that? Just know that. So I just want to say thank you all and welcome again. And so just opening up, you got a feel of who Dr. Marcia Whitaker is. I know we have some technical issues, but we would definitely have her talk more at the end as well. Um, Miss Betty Brown, who I love and serve with in the travel space and got to know her on so many levels, and been knowing her almost now 4 years in the business of travel. And just all this lady is a whole um uh what can I say? Like she is always well put together all the time. And I love I'm gonna be like her when I grow up because even at 6 o'clock in the morning, she get up and she is even in a baseball cap, she look cute, y'all. So I love it. I'm like, I'm just getting out of the bed. I ain't even up like that all the way. So I appreciate that because that reminds me that's how my grandmother was. My grandmother was definitely when she get up, she's just getting up, putting clothes on, and she could just be sitting around the house. And so I really do appreciate that. So just want to give some foundational tips on today, just talking about Proverbs 31 and 17, where it says, she girded her loins with strength and strengthened her arms. And what that really means is that she was preparing herself, like I just talked about. Miss Betty Brown prepares herself for the day and for one's action, hard work, or challenge. The virtuous woman was spiritual, mentally, emotionally, and physically prepared to handle her responsibilities with wisdom and faith. The virtuous woman is not weak, not passive, nor fearful. She was a woman of strength, wisdom, and service. She knew how to serve her family, community, purpose, and assignment without losing her faith. Wow. Serving with serving with strength means serving with boundaries, serving with wisdom, serving with purpose, and serving without forgetting your identity. Miss Betty, can you speak about that?
Oh, Lord, that is a big one. um, First of all, when you talked about my physical, my mother taught me a long time ago that, the first impression when someone first lays their eyes on you, you're selling whatever product you have. So when I go out into the streets, when I get up, I encourage people because it's important to me to look the part. I want to look like an entrepreneur. I want to look like a businesswoman. So, it's real easy on, I'm going to be very transparent. It's very easy on Zoom because all you got to do is dress up from the neck up. but, uh, but still, when I go out, I still do the whole picture because then when I talk to people, they're accepting me because they look at me. Oh, yes, she can fit the part. She's a businesswoman. She's this, instead of going out looking any kind of way. And they're like, I don't want to partner with her. She doesn't look like she's doing anything in particular. So it's important. It's very important. So that right there. But when you talked about the virtuous woman being strong, I said, gee, I am strong. I am
Hmm.
very strong. And even though I'm weak physically in fighting, or I'm small in stature, like I'm 5'5" and I weigh 115 pounds, so I'm thin. But I'm strong mentally. I can fight that devil. I've always been a warrior. And so when he tried to get me for my health, he would always try to say, you're not going to make it, you're going to die. I would say, well, you know what, devil? if the Lord chooses to bring me home, or if I die, guess what? I'm not going to be with you. I'm going to be with the Lord. So
Come
you just
on.
making it happen sooner. I said, so either you can send me to him now, or you can just wait and hope that you can get me to change, which is not going to happen. So you might as well leave me alone, because my choice is never going to change. So I'm strong in that. I have faith in that. So I've always felt like whatever happens, then it was the Lord's decision. And so I go along with that. And I have more recently geared my faith and things toward my business, to where you'll forget sometimes, like this morning, and like the doctor said, you get attacked all week. A lot of times you get so many things hitting you all at once that we're trying to figure it out ourselves, and he tries to distract you. Distraction is the number one enemy. Distract you so that you will forget from whence cometh your help, and you forget to go and say, Lord, take this over, and walk away from it. So we have to constantly, and I've had to force myself, stop trying to figure this out on your own. Go on and take it to God. Take it to your Father. Let him handle this, and go on and walk away from it. Have the faith that it's going to work out. And guess what? It may happen in a couple of days, and I'm impatient. I want it now. No, you wait. And when it works out in a couple of days, I'm like, see, I couldn't have did it better. Could not have done that better. So it's patience that has allowed me to grow in that area, and strengthen my faith, and to let go and let God. That's about it for right now.
Yes, 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 yes. I love it. Dr. Whitaker, can you just introduce yourself again for us, please? And just talk about, so we're talking about the virtuous woman, Proverbs 31 and 17, and where it talks about she girded her loins with strength and strengthened her arms, and how she prepared for hard work, challenges as a virtuous woman, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. So, introduce yourself and then talk a little bit about that as well.
Yeah. So I am Dr. Marcia. It's a pleasure to be here. I am your physician and life and business architect, and I help female entrepreneurs build. We start with their story, which is power. Then I help them to build their platform. And then I help them to chart a path to business success. And we start with the Create Your Stage Bootcamp, which is the number one platform building bootcamp for female entrepreneurs. And so we're talking about the virtuous woman. We're talking about her being prepared. We're talking about her strength. And the key word there is the preparation, right? It's the preparation. We read about all the things that she was able to do. She didn't do them from day one. She was prepared. And something that Miss Betty said is that sometimes when we struggle, we forget who we are
Ooh.
and
Mm-hmm.
whose we are.
Mm-hmm.
And so, just like those three Hebrew boys, right? They have remembered who they were in the fire. Daniel, right? He remembered who he was. And so that's what we need to do, to remember that we are the child of the king. Even Esther, she had to be reminded of who she was, and she was prepared. And so, what we're talking about is how do we get prepared for that season of life?
Right.
That's it. That's it. Yes. And getting prepared for that season life, whatever that may look like, whatever the challenge you may have to face. And guess what? Sometimes we might even be prepared for it, but if you like Miss Betty said, we gotta look to God, look to the hills from which cometh your help. And he will, because he always give us a warning. Warning comes before
Mhm.
destruction. So God is always going to warn you. He ain't gonna never leave us in the dark, but we're gonna pay attention to it. And I
Mhm.
love how studying the virtuous woman and how she handled certain situations. And so going into that, the teaching point number one, I want to talk about strength comes from God, not perfection. Many women believe they must have everything together before they can even lead, serve, or help others. However, biblically, strength comes from your faith, your endurance, and trusting God. And in any situation, difficult situation, easy situation, we still have to give that to God. He gives that to us. Um, You can serve while you learning. You can serve while you're healing. You can serve while you're growing. You can serve at any capacity of your life, and you can serve because guess what? We're going to trust God because He's going to give us the strength to do it. I remember when my mom, when she first started with the breast cancer at the age of 18. I don't know. Again, that was nothing but the grace of God to really help me at 18 how to be strong for my siblings. I was the I just graduated high school. I didn't go off to college like I planned to. I decided to stay home because my siblings needed me, and so did my dad. And so I worked two jobs. I made sure that my sister, who was under me, had everything she needed for school because she was going into her freshman year. My brother was finishing his senior year. I just made sure, and it was only but the grace of God that I did it. And my dad taught me how to put things in place. He was like, because he's seen that whole okay, at any moment something I need you to learn what the life insurance is. I need you to learn what the accounts look like. Their accounts, all those different things my dad taught me because of the simple fact that he's seen that I can handle it. How I was preparing myself, but it was nothing but the grace of God to get me through that. So I was just serving. I was just serving my family at 18. And then Isaiah 40 and 31 says, Put they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. So you put everything in your trust in God. And Dr. Whitaker, can you speak about that? How is that you can serve and when life is going crazy in your life, business, your mother, all those different things, how can you still serve and show up for people that you are supposed to serve?
Yeah, that is a powerful question. And it talks about, I'm gonna talk about, the pressure,
Mhm.
right? There's a pressure that we carry. And actually one of my coaches talked about this week about when you get to a place where you are embracing the pressure, that is when your growth comes.
Yes.
And so we can't crumble, but we have to lean and depend on what we know to be true. And I think that is the difference. And then we can call on, the potter's wheel, right? As we're being cut away, we're being strengthened, right? As we're climbing the rough side of the mountain, we're getting strengthened. But we have to keep going, and we have to keep our eyes to the hills, right? We have to keep our
Yeah.
eyes to the source of our strength, as opposed to leaning and depending on what we can do by ourselves.
Yes, Miss Betty Brown, you want to add to that as well?
She said it perfectly. The only I would just comment on it, and that is, you have to definitely stay close to the fire. You have to. We had a partner this week that talked about how she had been attacked all week and stress, stress, stress. We're pushing for goals and we're trying to make it out here in this world. We've got the things going on politically. We've got our family life, all of their emergencies. We've got our businesses. We've got people. We have all of these things weighing on us, but our growth comes from turning it all over to God and saying, He created us, He created the whole world. Why would we hold back these little tiny things to Him? Give it all to Him and then walk away with a good attitude, having the faith that it's going to work out. And then He likes that because it strengthens our faith. And one thing we have to remember is that when you pray for strength, you pray for to strengthen your faith, you pray for all these things. How are you going to get it? You're not going to go to bed and wake up in the morning and now it's all on you. The Lord will take you through the challenges that's going to force you to put
Mhm.
your fists up and fight back and get stronger. And then your victory in that will be the Lord did it for me. I didn't do it. He did it. Now I have a testimony to share with other people. So he strengthened me and then is allowing me to share that with other people, how I made it through. And now it will encourage them and allow them to know what they have to do to make it through as well.
Yes, 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 yes. And it
Yes.
just brought me to a scripture where it says, put on the whole armor of God.
That's it. It's on my notes.
You got to put on the whole armor of God. You can't go out half dressed, right, Miss Betty? Miss Betty, when she come together, she don't be half dressed. You got to be whole dressed, right, Doctor? I ain't never seen you half dressed either on the social media platform. Baby, y'all well put together. Again, why? It's because you have to put on that. I take that with me. I take that was one of my favorite scriptures growing up. Put on the whole armor of God and the breastplate, all of those different things. The helmet. You
Righteousness.
don't go out into the war, into battle half dressed, because something gonna happen, right? And so, teaching point number 2: serving others should not cost you your identity. Women often pour into everyone else while neglecting themselves emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically. Serving with strength means having healthy boundaries, learning to say no. That's a whole sentence. That no is a whole sentence. Protecting your peace, making time to rest and heal. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You have to allow God to refill you, I am a church leader. I am a entrepreneur. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. And I am always, and I love the community of women that I am around in my travel business, because although I'm always giving out to my church because I'm a preacher, I'm also the preacher's kid, the preacher's niece, and so I try not to do a whole lot, but that don't matter because my auntie gonna call me and say, because she's my auntie. But and my husband has some things that he need. My children has to, and I have to. And so when I get around my family in the travel business, they pour it back into me. We have what's called the IMV. That pours into me. I work a full-time job as well, and that pours back into me. So I'll be able to be what pour back into others, because I don't want to pour from an empty cup. So you have to have those areas. You have to have boundaries because your life needs boundaries. You have to have boundaries. Mark 6:31 says, "Come ye yourself apart in a desert place, and find rest." So you have to find rest out of all your busy day, all of that. You have to have rest. Betty Brown, can you go ahead and talk about that, Miss Betty Brown?
Lord have mercy. That is a really, really, really big, strong subject, because as a mother, even when I reflect back on that, there's so many things that you have to do. You go without sleep a lot of times because you're sacrificing your own sleep and health for your kids and their busy lifestyle and their health and all the dynamics that are involved with raising children and then teenagers and then young adults. It's very difficult. And then if you have a husband and, aging parents, it's a lot. But I've just recently learned more and more how to do that. And that is taking care of myself. I took care of my husband for 10 years and now I'm a widow. And I gave him all that I had because it required that with a stroke and him being paralyzed. So, but to tell you, God, how he did it, I already told you my size. My husband was 6'3" and over 200 pounds, of course. And a year before he had the stroke, my girlfriend asked me to go work out with her and lift weights. I hate lifting weights. I said, I hate that. I don't want to do it. And she said, no, come on. So I went with her and I started lifting weights. This little old frail girl got a big old muscle. A year later, my husband had a stroke.
Mm,
I was able to lift him. People would see me lifting his big old self out of the car into his wheelchair, from the wheelchair back into the van. They saw this. How can you do that? I said, God prepared me for this. He made
yes.
me do lift the weights a year before so that I could take care of him. I knew he did. And so I went on leave from my job. I took care of him for 10 years until he passed in my arms. And I was committed to that till death do us part. And I would not put him in a home or anything. So I'm not saying that for praise. I'm just saying that's what my life was at that time. And I still had all of my other responsibilities. But he will prepare you. And we have to just be there and ready to accept it and be ready to hear his voice. So we have to have that quiet time. We have to listen. And I had to say over and over and over, Betty, sit down and shut up and let the Lord speak to me. Let him tell me what to do. Like you said, no is a complete sentence. And I had to, because we have to understand that the devil will bring distractions and you'll think, oh, I'm supposed to do this. People want me to do this. People want me. And you're thinking it's part of your growth of your business. And he's coming at you wrong to get you distracted, to make you so busy you can't think of what you're real, or you can't hear from the Lord, and you're getting off your path. So you have to, I don't make any decisions now without praying. And if I have to wait 2 or 3 or 4 days, I patiently wait until he gives me a complete release to move forward in it. And that takes really strength and to do that. But I make less mistakes that way. And I had to tell Betty to sit down and listen and get my direction from the Lord. That's difficult, but it can be done.
Yes, 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 yes. I love it. Dr. Whitaker, do you want to add to that as a life coach?
First of all, I can't get past this
Come on.
without giving Miss Betty, I mean some right, right, because she just walked that thing down. She said she doesn't make any decision without praying and waiting for the answer. And that's the part that I know sometimes I get wrong. And I'm taking away some good nuggets from that. But I also, Elder, I'm gonna tap you because I'm gonna get on you because you're gonna talk about the Proverbs 31 woman, the one who's up at the break of dawn making clothes and buying fields and talking about her husband and all that kind of stuff. And then you're gonna say we need rest and we need we need boundaries. And so what I'm gonna say about that is that is something that we, one, have to learn, and two, the same person that you see doing all those things, one person can be balanced and the other person could be off balance. And so it is an inside job, and it starts with discipline, and it also starts with understanding our culture, because as women, and I want to say as church women, as Black women, we have been it's been indoctrinated that we are we keep going, right? We help the kids, we help the husband, we go to the church, we go to the job, we people call us, we jump out of bed, we go help them, right? And it's not taught that you can say that full sentence, that you can say no, right? Nowhere in Proverbs 31 woman are we hearing her say no. Okay, well, where does the no have to come up in your life?
Mm,
What do you have to step back from? And I do a horrible job sometimes, okay, with my rest and all the things, because I keep going until I'm like, you know what, I'm tired, I'm getting run down, I'm making mistakes, I'm doing some things, this area of my life, so my kids are going crazy, okay, let me step back. I've done too much in this area. Let me focus on something else. So it takes discipline, and it takes getting it wrong and recognizing that you got it wrong, and then resetting it. And I heard Miss Betty, she even said something that she just recently learned,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And all she said, she was retired. So it's not something that I would love to be able to move that decision tree a lot earlier in life,
Right,
and
right.
to know how to do that and to build up to where I'm making those changes now as opposed to waiting until a later
Later
time.
in life. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's it. And so the last teaching point before we go into the interview process, again, thank you all for who's joining. You're tuned into That Church Girl, Miss Betty Brown and Dr. Marcia Whitaker. We're just talking about the series of a virtuous woman. We're going into our last teaching point. And a virtuous woman serves with purpose and impact. The Proverbs 31 woman did not just stay busy. She served intentionally. Everything she did created impact for her family, her community, and her future generations. Whether it was in faith, whether it was in her family, her business, leadership, mentorship, or community, her gifts, her experiences, her testimony, story can help someone else heal, grow, and succeed. Serving is not attention. It is not for attention. Serving is about an assignment. You are assigned to serve. Serving is Matthews 5 and 16 says, let your light so shine before them. Miss Dr. Marcia, can you talk about that? Those experiences as a virtuous woman, we serving with purpose and impact, and for a generation to come.
Yeah, that's good. And the thing that comes to mind is that I believe that the virtuous woman had a vision statement, right? That was passed through God's eyes and his anointing. And so when you have a clear vision, now you know how to move. And so I am in belief that she was called to the things that she was doing. And so those things are part of her yes. We get into trouble when we just do anything because it looks or sounds good. But when that thing that we've decided to do is in alignment with what the vision God has given us is calling us to, that is when all the pieces start to are put together, and now we get to that success portion, better, faster, in His will.
Yes, Miss Betty. Yes, I love those nuggets. Yes, Dr. Whitaker. Thank you so much. Miss
She's
Betty
good.
Brown.
She's good. She's good. I'm
Yes.
ready to say amen. Let's go.
Yes.
Thank you.
But what came to my mind when you said purpose, impact, and generations to come, just for me simply, I moved a year or so ago, and I came to Bishop Bronner's church. I live very close by him now, so I had to go and experience that. My daughter said she wanted us to come, Word of Faith. And so I went there, and immediately I knew, like as soon as I walk into a building, I can tell if I'm supposed to be there or not. And God has blessed me with that. Um, so I knew that this was going to be my church home. And so I sat there and I just prayed and prayed, and it got confirmed every time I attended. So then I joined, I went to new membership class. Then I had to pray again, Lord, where do you want me to serve? Do you want me to sit here or, out here in the audience, or do you want me to serve? I used to sing in the choir. I used to be the executive secretary for the largest church in Joliet. I used to do all of those things, pastor assistant and all that. I said, where do you want me to serve? So I went to the church office. They said, no, we don't need any help. I said, okay, you don't want me there, Lord. Okay, where do you want me? So then people start coming up to me saying, you know what, you're so encouraging just with your smile. I said, well, now how am I going to do that? So I said, let me join the hostess ministry. So I contacted them, and that's where I stayed. And it has just been such a blessing because as I go to church every time I go, I ask the Lord, Lord, bless me to bless someone this day. Do you know I'm in the bathroom? This happens every week. When I go in the bathroom or I go stand on the door or wherever I am, people say, you know what? You really set the pace for me for coming in here. I feel so good with you greeting me the way that you do. Another lady would say it in the bathroom, or it's just all the time. People say that. So it's the Lord is saying, see, this is where I wanted you to be because you're greeting people with the love of Christ and letting them know that they're in the right environment and to prepare them to receive his word, his message. And that's what my whole prayer is every day. Don't see me. I want you to see the love of Christ in me and let him prepare them to receive his message. And that's what happens. So you have to and in doing that, it seems to be very, it gives me more of a purpose to spread the word and to be used as him, be that instrument. So I feel very fulfilled in that respect too. So
Yes, I love it. Let me tell you, I love it. So when I 20 years ago, when my auntie, who is my apostle, Kimberly Applewhite at Healing Waters, um, Miss Betty Brown, when I accepted my ministry as a preacher, I did the same thing you did, right? I served as a host. I was already, when she first started, she only had youth in her church at that time. And so I served under her all the time. And then as we grew all of that and I accept my calling, I went to I wanted to serve the people. I said, Auntie, I said, Apostle, well, I call her Auntie. I said, Auntie Kim, can I just be over, as a minister? Can I just serve there? And she said, oh yeah, sure. And that's where my apostle started too. So she started on the hospitality. She was over hospitality as well, the usher board, as we call it. Some people may call it that. But that's where she started. And I was never forget a time that we were coming to service, and my whole thing, I wanted to be different. I wanted to greet the people. I didn't want to sit you to your seat, because sometimes when you go to the usher board, when I was growing up, they was mean. I don't want to be mean. You see here, no, I don't want to be mean to the people. So I would just embrace them with love. I would hug them if they wanted me to hug them. And so I never forget, one of the ladies came to the service, and after church she told Apostle, she said, oh, Wani hugged me and breaks me with so much love, and I am going through a whole lot, and I needed that hug. And so that is where I started, and I love to serve. I love to really serve the people, and just in every capacity that I can,
yeah,
to really help. And I'm still trying to go back to the back door, but she has elevated me to the front, but I don't want to be up in the front no more. I like to serve in the back. And so I'll be taking, and I love to hear when and I set the tone. When I tell you, the women that are back there and over the hospitality now, they are, oh my God, they are the same way. We have people coming to me, oh my God, the hospitality team, they are so awesome. They are so I set the tone, and I appreciate that it's still carrying out to today, 20 years later, that our hospitality is still the same way. Like you were saying, Miss Betty, they get a lot of Miss Rose, Miss Rhonda, my missionaries. They love serving and being on that door. And also, my husband is back there too. So all of us are, are one big family, and that we take that with pride, because that's one thing our apostle teach us. You have to serve people with love and greet them with love and embrace love. And so going into that, I want to
Hold on,
ask,
can I just I need to
yes.
add something in here because we're talking about the host team, the greeters, and so my story is that I was married to a pastor for 19 years, and I did all the things, and from the multiple churches, from being on the financial part. I've taught children's church. I was over the women's ministry. I sang in a choir. I did the youth and whatever, all the things, right? And so once I left that relationship and started looking for my own church home, I found a church, and it's kind of one of those newer age ones where you in and out in an hour and 15 minutes, and where would you want to wear? I'm like, really, where would I want to wear? Right, so I'm all excited. But I'm like, where do I serve? And so I started in I came in through an outreach event, but I ended up landing at the host team. And when I tell you, the people who come through, who you can see on their face that they're struggling.
right.
You can
Yes.
see on their face they came in by themselves. You can see in their face that they need an extra touch. They need a hug. They need a connection. And so and I do, Miss Betty, I did the same thing. I would pray before I would go, and I'm like, who is it that I'm supposed to touch? And so that is such a powerful, powerful position that I probably didn't think about it too much when I was a first lady because I'm doing the 500 other things. But when you catch someone at the door and you
Yes.
usher them in and you change the trajectory of their
Mhm.
worship experience
Mhm.
and they don't leave without getting what they need, that is a powerful position. And I am thankful to have been there.
Right.
Yes, 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 yes. Ain't nothing like serving at the back door. I love it.
Mhm.
I love that. And so going into our next to get a little bit more on who we're talking to, that was like the teaching portion of it. So we could definitely know who is Miss Betty Brown and who is Dr. Marcia um Whitaker. And so again, this platform was designed to really help individuals. That Church Girl Chronicles, faith, purpose, and business. Who I am. I am a preacher's kid. I was born and raised in church. That's all I knew. And just changing that narrative that all church kids or preacher kids are the worst kids. No, the Bible says, train up a child and they will not depart. And so what that means is, although I might have strayed away, I tell people all the time, my parents is saved. I ain't saved. And I would hurt you. So that was just who I was. I didn't don't come for me, don't come for my parents. My parents give away, my auntie give away. And so I was that Peter. I was. And now that's and so now I have come to learn and to grow in ministry to calm it down. A lot of times that Peter still rise up, Miss Betty. But I have learned self-control, the fruits of the spirit, and I'm grateful to God for being there, because some things that my parents taught me, I still didn't do. Right, that my parents let me have a life outside of church as well, so for I can decide. And that's what a lot of times people in the church did not do. Like I have cousins who ain't stepping foot in the church no more, because that's all they had to do was go to church. They didn't know anything outside of that. So I am grateful to God that my parents allowed me to have a life outside of church and had me to decide which way I wanted to go. And if you plant that foundation, it's going to plant that seed. I had a strong foundation. My Seeing my mother and my father pray. I seen how my the people would try to use my parents, use my aunties, all those different things, and my uncles because of that. And I was like, why we can't fight them? Why we just can't, we just can't hit them? And my dad be like, girl, nah, we just can't hit people. So again, that's just who I was. So this platform was designed, and also going through 40 days and 40 nights with director Corman Ray, and also Michael Demond and director Denise Fields Russell. He challenged me. I need to tell my story, and a year later, I did. And so coming up on July, it'll be 1 year that I have been doing this consistently and telling my story. And so the first question I want to ask Miss Betty Brown to you: were you raised in church? And if so, how has that shaped you for today? And how did you raise your children as well?
I was raised in church. I was raised in church. We went to church all during the week, even on Sundays. But because I came from a humble beginning. It was 10 in the family. We didn't have running water. We had to walk a block to get to the well to pump the water and carry the pails back. And then they had big, huge containers in the house, and the boys would fill those up. And that's where we would get our drinking water, our bath water, and two or three of us would take a bath in the same water. So, I mean, it was very, very humble beginnings, but and then the faith was that my grandparents and my parents were very, very strong. Like my grandmother, she was the one who taught me how to pray. She had told mom, you got all those kids over there. Let one of them come over here and stay with me, and I'll help you. So I was chosen. And so she was the one who was so strong in faith. So I witnessed this when she didn't, when my grandfather said, oh, we don't have any food. So he would go and pray and find a loaf of bread outside somewhere, I mean, just things like that. So I was raised in the church, I was baptized, and I experienced the Holy Spirit as a child and didn't even
Come
know
on.
what it was. And I had that experience, and I've never had that particular experience again. And I used to wonder, Lord, I want that again. But at any rate, if he wants me to have it, I'll have it. If not, it's okay. I still know that I am filled, and that I am protected. But yes, I had church at an early age, and so of course, my kids were raised in the church because I continued to go, and it kept them out of the street. Instead of them running around with other friends of theirs, they developed, they were in the choir. So their friends were in the choir. They were in Sunday school. They were in, the youth ministry. So that's where all their friends were. So that's how I brought them up. So none of them have ever been arrested, never been in jail. They all have professional careers because kept them in that environment. So yes, it carried on over into my life, and they're still in the church. So
That's good.
as adults, so it started at an early age for me and continued through.
Yes, Dr. Whitaker.
Yeah, so raised in the church, and I have to put a caveat. Okay, so the question is which church? So I was raised in the Episcopalian church, coming up, and did a lot of ritualistic things. I would say, it was similar to Catholicism, and so we had a lot of stand up, sit down, sign on the cross, and so missing church was something that we never did, unless we were on vacation. And so I got into the habit of going. Then I went to a Catholic school, and even though it was similar to Episcopalian, but I didn't participate in Catholicism, but I learned about it. I remember I had a friend, my best friend was Baptist. I went to her church a lot. And so that's when the conversation about being saved came about. And I didn't know what that was because that's not something that Episcopalian Catholicism talks about. Ended up going to medical school, went to a holiness church, and we were in church almost every day.
Mm-hmm.
3, 4 times, multiple services. It's like we lived there. And so that is when I think I officially got saved. And then went Baptist with, my marriage and everything. So that's how my kids are PKs. So they had to go to church. But I've given them some space in the young adult realm so they get to choose what it is they want to do, because it's not something that I just want to drag them. I want them to want to be there.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
And I appreciate my parents for doing the same thing with me, like you did with your parents, and as well as Miss Betty. I appreciate that because it shielded me from a lot of different things. I have not been to prison, ain't even got a traffic ticket, right? But I don't drive either, but it's okay. Um, but um but when I would go to clubs, people would tell me all the time, Miss Betty, what you doing here? Why you in here? You a church girl. You a church girl. What is that? And so what does being a church girl really means? And to me, it's not just going to church. It's not. It's just that's just who I am. I am the representative of Christ. And so no matter where I go, I want to represent him. And so they called me and named me that church girl. And also because of the way that my anointing is, I am a Levite. So I usher in praise, and I usher in with giving God praise, and I have a unique dance. And it's nothing, as I remember as a little girl when my Bishop Lee, he would, before he speak, he would have the kids of the church to come up and give God a praise. And I would, every time he did that, it was a shift that happened. And I remember at one time we went to a church, and they wanted, because he had a really big choir, Miss Betty, he was a really good preacher, so they wanted him. And so, but he never, it was consistent because it set the tone for what he was doing. And he would call me along with some other children to come up and give God praise, and they put us out the church. They said, they told them, they said, kids don't shout here. He said, oh well, you don't. And so they called him up. What was so funny is, and this is what really uh because I didn't understand at the time, but when I was going to my ministry, it prompted me to like remember. And so when he got up to preach, well, we're getting ready to preach or call the choir up, he said, no longer would, no longer will Topic of Life be preaching on tonight. I'll be preaching on tonight, or my choir will be singing because you set my kids down. And my kids at my church set the tone for when I speak. And so no, they would not we would not be preaching or we would not be singing. We got up and left. And I was
Mm.
like, what? So that was from a little girl. That's who I was and still is to this day. That I set the tone, like the Joseph act. He said what he do. They went out and what confused the enemy. And so that's who I am. And so just talk a little bit about that. When you hear that phrase, "Oh, she a church girl," what does that mean to you, Miss Betty Brown?
A church girl is just a name. It's just a nickname as far as I'm concerned. But when I hear it, it's like, okay, yeah, I attend church, but the church is in me.
That's
I
right.
am the church. And so it's with me 24/7. And if you talk to me and whatever, you're gonna know within a few minutes that I am a church girl, but it's because it's in me. It's not the fact that I go and attend a church. No, the church girl is within me because Christ lives within me and he's alive and active. Real simple.
Yes, Dr. Whitaker.
Yeah, I think when I hear church girl, I agree with you, Elder, that it isn't necessarily you just going to church. Um, but what folks noticed in you is that you were different, right? That you stood out. And the Bible talks about being a peculiar people.
People, that's
And
right.
so no matter where we are as church girls, people can recognize that before we've even said a word.
Right.
And what you experienced is now you're being called out because they're like, hey, what you doing in here? This is for all the other people. This isn't for you. And so that can actually help us. I think that may have helped me when I was in that finding myself zone, right? When people are like, you're not supposed to be here. Like, what is it? You should go home. Actually, I've had folks tell me stories where they were someplace and they were told, you know what, you don't. I'm taking you home. You don't belong in this place. And so, and I think we can still apply that to being grown. There's some places that we just don't belong. We're not going to fit in because of who we serve and who we are.
Yes, I agree. I get put out of places all the time. My cousins tell me you can't go. I'm like, dang, I can't. That's fine.
You know what? Just to bring something to mind, well, to share with you what came to my mind is it's reflective of you. I mean, that light shines. And one of the things that happened to me that I had to chuckle inside, I was on my job and I had never told my boss anything about my personal life or what my faith was. I just did my job and I left. Never testified, never did anything to him. Somebody was trying to stab me in the back and came to him and told him some lies and said that I had cussed him out. Do you know what he told him? He said, no, you're lying. You're not talking about Betty because she doesn't cuss. She doesn't do that. I know her. He said,
Right,
so I know that's not true. So immediate, and I was like, wow, I never told him anything, but my light shined
right.
through
Yeah,
me. And he
Mhm.
knew because of the way I led my life that that was not a true statement that they were making and they were trying to hurt me. But he had to let him know that was not her.
yes, yes. I love it. I love it. And it will happen. That's the what make an enemy your footstool. There's something that you probably done that they ain't like. They want to go back and spread a lie. But that's what the enemy do.
That's
But
all.
he don't. But we know the truth, and we serve a God that was able. And I love it. Thank you for sharing that, Miss Betty. So I want to go um to just our last question here. Um, well, last two questions I want to say. How has your faith helped you serve others during difficult seasons? Dr. Whitaker.
Ooh, that's a big one. And some of my difficult seasons was when I was struggling in my marriage, but I was leading the women's ministry. And also when my parents were killed in a car accident. And in those seasons, my faith led me, right? My faith was with, as far as the marriage, I'm fighting hard to stay. I'm fighting hard to, to pray and to hear from God. I'm praying hard. And even when I decided to leave that marriage, it was a pull, right? How do I leave and not fail the women who I've been leading? Right, and that kept me there longer than I wanted to, but I had to wall that off for a moment, for that season, for me to say, you know what is it that I needed to do because of my safety? What did I need to do? And so the other part was, my parents died. There was no explanation. There was no reason. There was no rhyme. And so the only thing I could do was lean on that scripture that has a whole new meaning for me now, which is, He'll be a father to the fatherless and a mother to the motherless.
Yes.
And just take one step at a time to get through that season of life.
Yes, Miss Betty Brown.
Girl, she took me back. Now you gotta ask me that question again because I got all wrapped up in it. I'm gonna give a short answer so we can get through. But what was it?
How has your faith helped you serve others during difficult seasons?
Um, it has helped me. My faith has, because God has brought me through so many situations that there was absolutely no way, shape, or form that I should have been able to come through successfully, except without Him and His assistance. So many ways. I mean, from just what comes. I'm driving my car and another car is in the same lane head on. We're both coming down the street, and all I can say is Jesus. And all of a sudden, I was put over in the other lane, and I never even remembered getting over there. And all I
Mm.
remember was my grandmother, my aunt, my mother telling me, whenever you get put in positions like that, the devil will flee from the name of Jesus.
Mhm.
So
Jesus.
all when I find myself in really bad situations and I need help instantly, I just start saying, Jesus, I ain't even got to pray. You know what I need, but I'm calling you to come and help me right now.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see these things happening, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that there is a God, and that He definitely watches over me and helps me through these situations. And I would not have known that had they not shared it with me. And then I saw it in the Word. So that's why you have to stay in the Word, because you learn how to battle these things. You learn how to fight through life every day, and you learn the simplicity of asking Him for help and letting Him do it. I mean, so we it's just, I try to be there and encourage. And I always tell people that when you find yourself going through some really, really, really hard times, lean on the Lord, let Him bring you through. He's doing that because you are strong enough to handle this. He wants to bring you through. You need a testimony. So when you go through this test successfully, now your testimony will help someone else. So you
Mhm.
have to be able to, if you want to be used by Him, call on Him and use your test to be a testimony.
Yes, I
Mhm.
love, and when you serving others, right? I love the book of Job. Job got his healing when he helped and prayed for his friend. So
Yes.
in all that he lost in one day, when I went back and studied that, doctor, I didn't realize he lost everything in one day. He lost his kids, all of that, and his faith never failed. He told his wife, "Woman, you sound foolish." She said, "You should just curse God and die." He said, "Lady girl, please." That's what I would have probably said to him. I'm just paraphrasing, so y'all gonna read it for yourself. But me, I would have said the same. Like, are you for real? You want me to curse God and die? Okay, nuh-uh. But he said, "Though he slay me, yet will I trust him." And so no
Mhm.
matter what life, and that has always helped me when I was going through situations. being a my first marriage, me and my husband, we like wasn't getting along. I would just say, this too shall pass. Though he slay me, when we not getting along like we supposed to, when the kids getting on my nerves, grandkids getting on my nerves, all these different things, I have to show up and still serve and say, no matter what, God, you put me here. My husband wanted a praying woman, but what he got was definitely a minister. And so it was a lot of different things that he had to learn what an elder do, because my husband didn't understand at first. And we had to, and I thank God that I didn't have a selfish leader who said, Wani, you have to take care of your marriage first. Let's take care of that first. And you guys let
Mhm.
God help you so you'll be able to serve where you need to be. And when I did that, like Miss Betty, I had to learn that 2 years in our marriage. I said, you can't, I gotta go here. I gotta go there. Because I was so used to just going because I'm a minister, so I gotta do it. And he was like, nah, I need you to be here with me. I'm like, I gotta go to church. I gotta go serve. And again, in those difficult times really taught me, and it really helped me. And by my apostle and her husband been married for over 30 years, I just had to go swallow my pride, Miss Betty, and tell my auntie, my husband tripping because he want me to stop going to preaching. I gotta go do stuff. She said, no, you out of order. No, you gotta listen. Listen to your husband. There's something that he needs, and you need to listen. So she's like, no, you can't go. You can't preach, and it's okay. But it taught me something. It taught me how to um trust God in those moments. He was not trying to stop what God was doing. He just wanted to understand what God was doing.
Mhm.
And guess what? We prayed together and we asked God to help us so we could get a better understanding. And that's what we had to do. We had to just come together and pray because he still did not understand certain things. But again, we had to do it together so God can actually flourish our marriage. Don't get it twisted. There's still some things that I'm learning because I'm a loud person at heart, and so some things come off a little wrong to my husband. I'm learning every day to be sweet and kind to my husband every day, but it's a challenge. So the last question, you all, how do you balance serving others without losing yourself? What would you tell the people on today, the women that's listening? Miss Betty Brown.
Without losing myself.
Yes.
I don't, that one confuses me because it's all one package. And I can't lose, I mean, how can I lose? Well, I guess I could getting busy, but I've already learned how to organize my calendar and follow it, and be able to. I've learned how people are seasonal, and they may come into your life and you think that they're friends, but they're really not, and they're causing being distractions for you. And you know in the past you would have thought it was a friend, but it's actually a negative distraction. So I constantly have to stay on my knees. I stay prayed up. Every conversation I have with people, I ask the Lord to give me, the wisdom to see through it, to see if it's something that I should be doing or should not do. And so I just have to let Him see for me, let Him be my eyes, because I would not know. Emotionally, I get to where I want to help the whole wide world, the whole world. I want to give them everything. I would give away stuff and not pay bills because I just want to help people. Well, what about yourself, Betty? You
That's
still
right.
got, so yeah, but that's my heart. So I've had to come back and say, calm down. Like they teach us in our class, our training and entrepreneur training, everybody says, oh, I want to help all the poor people. Well, the best way to help them is to not be one of them. So you
I love it.
and so and so with me keeping God close and letting him take me up the ladder, then I can help those who need the help, because now he's telling me, no, don't do it in that direction, that's not where I want you to be. And he tells me when to help and when not to help, that is real, is not real. So that's how, in every one of those questions, you have to stay close to God. You have to stay in the Word. He will lead you through all of it in every avenue, every area of your life. So just don't forget that. That's basically it. That's the easy answer.
Mhm. Dr. Whitaker.
So, Miss Betty, you gave us the PhD version. But she gave us, she's completed her studies in this zone. So I'm gonna give the bachelor's of science answer. Okay. So again, the question is, how do I serve without losing myself? And I'm gonna say I got it wrong. Okay, for many years, for being a young mother at the time. I mentioned this earlier, just kind of trying to make sure everybody has their stuff, and at the end of the day, I'm spent, and there's no more room for me. I have no more energy. And some of it is trial and error, but then some of it is, instead of being retroactive, right, instead of responding to something, you decide, you know what, going forward,
Right.
how do I want this to look? And one of the things, for example, in my marriage, one of the things I did is that I did not go out with friends a lot. If they were going out of town for the weekend, I was like, no, I can't go. Or I would go up for a day, come back, so that, the kids' stuff wouldn't, roll over into something that he had to do. And at one point, I was like, "Oh, nah, this isn't working for me, because now I'm losing important relationships that help keep me grounded, help keep me sane." So I said, you know what? I'm going to start doing some things on my own. We're going to do some girl weekends. And am I staying the whole weekend? Yes. Yes, I am. Am I going again in a couple of weeks? Yes, I am. But I would prepare, help kind of making sure things were tight, and this is what you have to do. If that meant getting another family member in to help, yes, I'm going to do that. That takes more energy. And so that's the other point I'm going to make, is that it takes preparation. It takes you being deliberate. It takes you saying, you know what? I know I don't want to have calls on Sundays.
Hmm.
Okay. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it, right? Because I've got something else. I need to rest. This is the day of rest, right?
Right.
And so most of the times people will do only what you allow.
Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
And our job is to teach people how to treat us. And that
That's right.
takes energy, work. But I'm trying to get to the PhD zone. Thank you, Miss Betty.
Yes, me too, Dr. Whitaker. I'm learning from both of y'all. You hear me? and I and
Right.
I love and let me say, I love how God has a sense of humor, right? Because all my life I have always been around seasoned women. They were always 10 or 20 years older than I. And it was definitely women that were preparing me for the next level of my life. And so now, just the season of my life now, I'm surrounded with women of prayer. I don't like to pray out loud. I like, I'm not a prayer warrior. That's not my gift. But God has surrounded me with women who are praying women. And I appreciate that. God has also prepared me for to be around women who are at a high stature than I. And I'm like, well, I ain't worthy. I ain't worthy to be around these people. And I am. And they let me know that I am. Right, Miss Betty Brown? Director Corman calls me out so much. And I
But you're so
appreciate that.
acceptance of that. I mean, you have the personality to where you accept any type of, with, if we want to say criticism, you accept it gracefully. And I'm like, man, she's got a really sweet personality, because but you're learning and you're growing, but you still got
Yes.
that personality that accepts it.
Yes. And that's and because I'm always wanting to learn, I'm always willing to learn from others so I can do better. And not saying that no one on here is perfect, but I'm just
Mm-mm.
striving to do better in every season that God has me in. And so as we come to a close, I want the people to know where they can find you, Miss Betty Brown. What is your next event? What you have going on? Let the people know where they can find you. They want to get in contact with you.
You know what? The best way to reach me is my personal email. It's a fun email. It's Betty Boop, the cartoon character, because I was called that all my life before I even knew who she was. And they would say Betty Boop. I'm like, who is that? But my nickname was always Betty Boop. So it's Betty Boop and then 0813. My birth date is August 13th. So it's 0813 at AOL. Yeah, I'm still with AOL. I'm old, okay? So I gave you some things to help you remember.
I love it. I love
Get on there and say I want some travel. I'll send you my travel page. I got a whole bunch of stuff, but that Betty Boop is the one that I constantly check all day long. So that's how you can get in touch with me, and just know that I'm a straight shooter. I'm what they call, 100 proof. I don't water it down, so don't come and ask me something that you don't want to know the truth about. Is that right, Wani? Do I?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It is so true. Don't you come
Okay,
ask her because she
okay.
gonna tell you.
Do not. And you know what? Another thing is being a senior has its privileges, and that's one of them. People respect you more and they'll accept it easier. When I was younger, it wasn't accepted. I was called, my nickname was Wild Girl. But now it's accepted as I'm knowledgeable, I'm seasoned, they listen to me, and that's okay. But just, when you come to me, make sure you come straight. And because that, I have to unapologetically introduce you to myself.
Yes, yes. Dr. Whitaker, let the people know what you have going on as well and where they can find you.
Absolutely. First of all, Miss Betty, that is called wisdom.
Yes.
Yes.
And I appreciate it. Wisdom and understanding. And thank you very much for what you have delivered today. And so I'm Dr. Marcia. You can find me at drmarcia.com, and that's drmarcea.com. That is my website, but you can also text me at 410-705-7851. And if you are an entrepreneur and you're looking to build your platform, I do a Create Your Stage free 2-day boot camp that we're actually running next week. And you can find that out at drmarcia.com/create your stage. Thank you so much.
That's
Yes, yes,
wonderful,
yes.
wonderful. And I forgot to say that I have a company called a Getaway Travel. And so I can either make your travel dreams come true, or I can show you how you can earn additional income doing travel, or I can show you how to do both. And after I lost my husband, I lost half of my income. But guess what? Someone introduced me to this and it filled in the blanks for me. So it definitely works. It's legitimate. I've been in over 8 years. And, if it was a negative business, it still wouldn't be alive today. So it's very, very legal. And it's a lot of us that are earning quite a good income and traveling. I use the traveling for my grieving process. And I have a widowers group that we meet, and I help people get through grieving on losing a spouse. That's very difficult as well. And it's at any age. You don't have to be, a senior to lose your spouse. I have them at all age groups in the group. So yeah, just contact me for any of those reasons. Oh, 773-447-9296. It's a Chicago number, but I'm in Atlanta.
Yes, 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 yes. So if you heard or seen anything that you would like to be a part of with these two young ladies, and let me just say this, I have served along both of them. Um, I think the very first time I met Dr. Whitaker, she allowed me to be a speaker for her create your own stage. And so definitely I'm also signing up again. I'll be there Monday for the event as well. I think it's Tuesday. I won't be able to be on Tuesday, but I'm definitely going to peek my head in on Monday. So again, you
Uh,
want to come again, you're going to meet us here every Tuesday, that church girl, every Tuesday at 6:30 to about 8:30 as well. This was a special day because we have a special series talking about virtuous women. So today was a special day that I set aside as well for these two young ladies. Um, to be on a platform, and I do appreciate it. So to every woman watching today, God sees your service, He sees your sacrifice, He sees your prayers, your strength, even when people overlook you. How many people got overlooked? he Even when you are being overlooked, heaven did not. Jesus did not. Every goal, every promise He promised you, He will supply it. So don't, so what, the people overlooked you. They didn't like Jesus Christ, but guess what? He died and He rose. And I appreciate you for staying in and not giving up. Don't throw in that towel. Just know that God is with you, and be that Proverbs 31 woman and stand on your beliefs and serve with power, dignity, and all that God has given you with that strength. Again, you serve with honor and you serve with grace. Just know that God is with you and He is for you and He is never against you. I love you. My name is Elder Waniata Carter Foster. And again, stay tuned to Tuesday as we continue our season of a virtuous woman, Proverbs 31. Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye bye.